You're listening to the Sunny Days Podcast. I'm your host, Alex the Good Witch, a professional psychic, healer, and coach specializing in subconscious reprogramming, inner child work, and intuition development to help you create your happiest, most fulfilling life. Thank you for tuning in on this sunny day. Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Sunny Days Podcast. I'm your host, Alex the Good Witch. I am a psychic healer and coach, and I specialize mostly with the subconscious work and inner child work. And I'm here today with Nigel Gaff, my guest.
Hello.
Hi. So I will let Nigel introduce himself and more of what he does.
Hi everyone. My name is Nigel Gaff. You probably gathered from my accent, I'm not from California. I'm from the UK. I'm a clairvoyant, clairsentient medium, and I've been doing this work for over 3 decades. So
Wow.
a long time.
Yes.
Yeah, I've been talking to the dead a long time.
Yeah. That's very impressive. I especially just being a psychic and somewhat getting some mediumship messages here and there. That's amazing to be really in that world for so long.
Sure. Yeah. My mother was a medium.
Yeah.
She never worked with her gift. It scared my father too much. So my father forbid it, but he couldn't stop me.
Yeah.
So as I grew, it became part of my life, really. I became very, very aware of spirit as a young child. So my mother would put me to bed, and then I couldn't sleep. And then the lights would go out, and then the spirit would then come into the bedroom.
Yeah.
Get the living daylights out. But as I grew, as you get to about 7 or 8 years old, the chakra system closes down on the body, and then the soul feels itself heavy in the body, and then it all went away.
Yeah.
Until I was a bit older, and then it all opened up again.
That's so interesting. That's why, like, a lot of people say how when they kind of go back into the spiritual awakening, if you will, they feel like how they did when they were younger and they were more in tune. Like, a lot of people can connect back and they're like, I remember feeling this way when I was young.
Yeah. Well, everybody's attuned to spirit because every baby that's born comes in exactly the same way. And we're all open. We all sense and feel spirit as babies. We just don't realize it now consciously as an adult.
Yeah.
And everybody's connected to spirit. We all are, all humans. Most people just haven't got the level of awareness or understanding to know that, but everybody is. And it's just individuals like yourself and me, and people turn to their spiritual lives that then opens up the gift. And then we have a choice whether we work with it or not.
Yeah. So what was your point of wanting to reopen that gift?
For me, I moved into a house. Me and my ex-wife bought a house in a village in Sussex in the UK. And it was in an old village called Ifield, which is actually in the Doomsday Book. So it's a really, really old village. And the house was just haunted. It was the most scariest haunted place I've ever been in. But I was really unaware of that when I moved in. It wasn't until, so I was clearly there for a reason.
Yeah.
There was no such thing as coincidence. And I just slowly became aware of spirit being in that house. And then I met another medium at a psychic fair, a spiritual fair, a man called Peter Richards, who'd been a medium for 40 odd years. And he took me under his wing and he taught me.
Oh, wow.
He did me a reading. And he said to me, he said, the gift is in you. He said, it just needs bringing out.
Yeah.
And he said, if you continue, one day you'll be known for what you do. So I've been quite fortunate to be able to work all over the world doing this work.
Yeah.
So that's kind of how it started for me. And then I became aware of living in this haunted, spooky house where some of the strangest things happened that most people wouldn't believe me. I've actually I've launched a book this January here in LA when I was back out here. And it's got my life story in there pretty much.
Yeah. What's the name of your book?
It's Reflections of the English Medium.
Yes, he's the English medium. He's got super cool photos. Same with like the book cover. It looked like James Bond.
Yeah. That is great.
Yeah.
So that's pretty much me. I've been doing it for a very long time. I'm also a Reiki master too. I know you do healing as well, don't you?
Yeah, I'm a Reiki master as well.
Yeah, I think most people that get involved in their spiritual lives generally start with healing.
Yeah,
most mediums start as healers.
Yeah, I think most like psychics and mediums are very surprised once the messages start coming through from the healing. I've known a lot of people who they see themselves as a healer or were interested in healing, and then they couldn't believe it when they started getting like messages along with the healing and things to pass along, and they really go so hand in hand. You're really tapping into the same place. Yeah, like when I attune people to Reiki, I let them know ahead of time, because that's what happened to me. Is I was always very psychic and intuitive, but when I got attuned to Reiki, that's when I was able to do it on purpose. So I let people know when I certify them in Reiki, I'm like, it's not just the healing, like you'll have a lot more keen sense of like messages and like a stronger sense of intuition. Yeah,
absolutely. Definitely. Once you attune to the healing energy, it opens up the chakra system and then the third eye. And as that opens, then people start to experience all sorts of stuff they then can't explain. And I've met so many people that have had so many spiritual experiences, which is quite interesting. So healing's pretty much where it all starts. Because the healing shows a level of sensitivity to want to help other people, basically. Yeah,
exactly.
Get other people, help them through their traumas and their pain and their physical pain. So it's a wonderful thing to do.
Yeah, I was just thinking that how it's often like the calling, and it makes so much sense because you're called to help others and to heal. And then like once you get there, those messages and everything that are coming through are to help people, and support people as well.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, this world's not an easy place. It's a difficult world, especially these days. It's harder now than it's ever been. And people need more support, spiritual support. More people are turning to spirituality as opposed to religion, because there doesn't seem to be a lot of answers for people within religion, sadly. So spirituality now has certainly become more popular, certainly with the advent of TV and the TV mediums. And you've got quite a few over here in the US, John Edwards and Teresa Caputo, quite a few of the other ones. As we do in the UK and all over the world now. So I think people are becoming more aware, and they've got more questions now. Whys and wherefores. What are we doing here? What's it all about? Which I think is a really healthy thing. I'm not religion isn't the medium's fan.
Yes.
Religion and mediumship generally don't go hand in hand, unfortunately. But each to their own, right? We've all got, as long as people gain something from whatever they do. Even if it is religion, if they gain a sense of peace within themselves, that's good enough, isn't it?
It's the personal faith and the personal spirituality that really is what's of value and makes the difference.
Yes, without a doubt. So I've been doing it a long time. And I've seen lots of experiences and seen lots of things over many years. But I still do healing, but maybe in a different way, potentially similar to what you do, i.e. working with the inner child.
Yes.
Because we're all children, really. We just all think we're adults, but we're all children.
Yes.
And our basic responses to just about everything are in a childlike manner. So adults get angry, adults sulk, adults get jealous, so on and so forth. And these aren't adult responses, they're childhood responses. And it's where the child steps forward into the morphic field, or out of the morphic field into our consciousness. And it's the child that still exists, because the child exists around us all the time. And if any part of the childhood is unhealed or not looked after, then that child is going to keep stepping forward into the consciousness, bringing the emotion of that child with it. Whether that's anger, jealousy, resentment, abandonment, you name it. The only reason I got involved with the healing initially in the first place, and the interest with healing the child within and working in the morphic field, is because of my past, where I was abused as a child and abandoned. I didn't have a very nice childhood. It was difficult. And I knew that as an adult, I wasn't functioning very well. So I knew that I had to do something else. So then I spent this time with the healing. I'm an NLP master practitioner, EFT, hypnosis, matrix reimprinting, all different types of psychological and emotional work to get myself fixed.
Yeah.
So in turn to help other people then get them fixed as well. So that was always the plan really for me.
Yeah, that's so beautiful. And like it's so true what you're saying, where like unless you really go to like heal and like you said, even like care for, because like these inner child parts of us are acting like real children. Like it's a very organic part of you where like truly if you are just like ignoring it and pushing it away, they're gonna act the same way that a kid would in doing so, and have the same sets of limited coping skills. And that's why, like you said, when people get triggered and they're showing whatever that coping skill is, that's why it seems so childlike and so limited, is that's really that part of them that's taking over and doing it. But so many people don't realize that that's a big issue with what they see for themselves, and what they want in their life, and wondering why they're not getting there and why that's not happening is I believe a lot of times those inner child parts, they aren't on the same page. They don't want to move forward with that thing. Maybe they're afraid to, or maybe they don't think they deserve it, or whatever plethora of reasons for that very personal child.
Well, the child will always keep coming forward all the time. It's unhealed because it wants recognition, it wants to be heard. It's a known fact. It's, as I said, adults don't suffer with jealousy, anger, resentment, abandonment. Adults don't have those things. Children do. And it's the unhealed child. It's the child that wasn't heard. It was the child that was bullied. It was a child that was abandoned. It was a child that was abused. That will keep coming forward until it is heard, until you listen to it, till you recognize it, till you love that child, until you actually help that child get through it. And then amazingly the emotion that they carry then leaves us. It then goes, and we no longer have that pain, that sadness within us. It's quite remarkable really, and I've seen it time and time again where I've helped other people get through it. So my mediumship, my healing, it's all a catalyst really to bring me to the stage, to the point that I'm at now. Very similar to you and anybody that's spiritual really. I think I know so many spiritual people, certainly back in the UK and now here in the US, that all started as healers that end up working in counseling or psychology in some way or another to help other people. Because I think to be a medium or to be that, you've had to have had a lot of pain in the past as well.
Yes.
So you've had to suffer yourself.
And you've had to go through all that and get yourself to the other side of it to be able to walk others. And it's so interesting how you said that a lot of times people will go into the like field of psychology and counseling and things like that, because I always saw them as so like hand in hands, the spiritual world and the healing, and even like the psychic and mediumship with components like how therapy and mental health like holds this space for people. So I always thought it was so interesting to see them so separated, because I used to work in mental health, and a reason that I left that job is because I would have had to pursue being like a certified therapist. And when you're in that role, it's very, very limited. You're very boxed in. It's illegal to do things like spiritual healing and things like that for your clients. Of course, I'm talking about even with their consent. I'm not I'm talking about doing it just like unknowingly, but to present those modalities, as a way for them to help themselves or for you to be able to help them. You have to do things very formulated, and the regulation is to have, safety and boundaries in place. But as someone who was very tapped into the spiritual world and had these gifts that I wanted to help people with, I couldn't be, put in that box. So that was a big reason I wanted to go off on my own and then do the opposite. Like I am, a psychic and healer, but I get to incorporate the mental health side, incorporate the psychology and things like that, and how you set up a safe space the way that you would like in counseling.
Without a doubt. It's there's so many rules and regulations, but rules and regulations don't come into energy. You know what I mean? You can't have rules and regulations within someone's energy. So It's we have to toe the line to a degree. I mean, there's a lot of it be very ethical with the work, obviously, and then you've learned that. But I do enjoy the healing. I do enjoy working with people, and I do enjoy teaching as well. So I run circles on a regular basis, and I help people slowly develop and bring their own gifts on board, because everybody's psychic. That's a natural gift. But not everybody's, even though they're tapped into mediumship, not everybody's a medium, because they don't have the level of sensitivity required to actually do mediumship. And it's not necessarily for them in this life anyway. Because we come backwards and forwards and backwards and forwards and backwards and forwards, life after life after life, slowly for the soul to evolve throughout this illusion. To go back home again. It's quite fascinating.
It is.
It's a broad, massive subject. I mean, it's not something that somebody said to me, "Can you teach me all about what you do?" And I said, "Well, if you've got 35 years, sit and give away and because basically that's so it's taken me to get to where I am. I'm not saying that I'm any better than anybody else, but the reality is it takes a long time. You can't rush this.
It encompasses so much. It's not this just very straightforward black and white kind of direction or answer.
You have to be very mindful that people that go to see the likes of you and me are often looking for something, are often in pain, emotionally and physically and mentally, and you have to be very respectful of that, and you have to really be very mindful of that fact that they can be very vulnerable, and help them through that as best you can.
It's so much more than just things like a reading or a healing. It's definitely being able to hold that whole space and that whole person.
Absolutely.
Something that I feel like was always something I was very inclined to, but I also it was taught in the job I had in mental health, because we worked a lot with kids. And it was the concept of unconditional positive regard. And that's something that I always felt. I just love people. So I feel like I always look at people that way. Like, even if I see someone angry or whatever it is, I'm just like, oh, like I see beyond actions, right?
Sure.
I'm sure you feel the same. And it was really beautiful because, like, with kids, we were taught how kids don't really get that from basically anyone. Maybe they're lucky and there's some really amazing teacher or mentor or something, but kids are very much just put in the, you're being bad, you're being good, you do this and I'm gonna punish you, you do this and I'm gonna, withdraw or ignore you, or, it's all very conditional. So to be able to give kids unconditional positive regard, it's like, you can be disruptive in class, you could be this, you could do that. And it's not like there's no boundaries or anything like that, but it's like, I still look at you the same way and I still accept you the same way, no matter how you're acting or what your behavior is. And I feel like that's a lot of the work with being like a medium, a psychic, giving readings and healings, is to be able to just hold people in that space where they can be as, in their pain or vulnerable or sharing whatever it is. And that's all okay, in this space.
Yeah, it is okay, because everybody's got their story. So, and it's not for me or anybody else to have an opinion on somebody else's story. People say, well, I know what it's like. I know what you're going through. Well, no, you don't. You know what it's like for you to go through it. You know what it's like for me, or I know what it's like for you, because we're all individual. So when somebody says, oh, well, I know what it's like to have been abused, you know what it's like for you to have been abused. There's a saying, my broken fingernail is more painful than your broken leg, because it's my broken fingernail. So so it's a fact, really. So it's a very personal journey, but to be empathetic, to actually hold that energy for someone, say, you might appear to be angry on the outside, but that anger on the outside is only a reflection of what's going on the inside, what's going on in your own morphic field, in your own childhood generally. So when I heal people, when I work with people, I generally always go back, always find the answers backwards, always, because your future is behind you, just generally for most people. So whatever you're going through, whatever the pain is, you can often trace it backwards.
It's incredible once you start seeing it that way. It's amazing how just like literally through like one day, how you'll just be living your life, and any little thing, like the way you're perceiving something, however you're feeling about something, when you start looking at it that way, how you can totally just start tracing back, and connecting those dots. And and from there, it opens up a whole world of having a different experience.
Absolutely.
Until you can connect that, you're going to be stuck in that same kind of experience, because it's like this invisible force of the inner child, running the show.
Absolutely. And the child, sadly, the child is running the show. Running a look around the world at the leaders of the world.
Yes.
And they're running us. In some aspects, children. I mean, you've only got to look at the House of Commons in the UK at Question Time, and they literally are like children shouting at each other in a playground. Seriously, adults. And these people are making rules and regulations in the UK, running our economy and our country, and they're no more than children, really. And I watch them and think, oh my God, these people are making my life often more difficult because of and the same the world over, not just the UK. Obviously, it's global. So. And that is, that's quite kind of worrying. I think that comes down to education. I think the education system needs to be reformed in a very big way to actually educate children in a better way. We live in a different era, I believe, in a different time. Children don't really need to learn trigonometry, and they really need to learn how to open a bank account, how to communicate with people in a respectful, kind way. I believe it all starts at the very roots, doesn't it? At the very core, it starts.
Yeah, it's
for all of us.
Yeah,
for the whole of the world. Really.
Yeah, it would make a huge difference, and it's never too late, but to be able to start, back then, with being able to process experiences and process emotions, and like you said, and communicate and all of these things from so early on, then there wouldn't be as much catching up. There wouldn't be as much living blind to your experience and what's really happening. You'd be a lot more of the leader of your own life.
Yes, absolutely. Us healers, we wouldn't need to be about. We wouldn't need the counselors and the psychologists. It's you. If you want to ruin an adult, abuse them as a child, in some respect or another. I'm not necessarily talking about physical abuse, but all aspects of abuse, mentally, emotionally, physically, because it's how you ruin the adult. So, and then of course the adult then has to spend years going back and repairing all the. So I think education needs to be looked at, in my opinion. Of course, it's all my opinion. But it might not be agreed or followed by everybody else. But that's what I feel.
But it's certain. Some of it is, which I'd like to add as somewhat of a silver lining, is part of my job was to go into schools and teach, how to process emotions and like coping skills and communication and things like that. That was a big part of what I did when I said I worked in mental health. So it's cool. And the schools wanted us. It was like government funded or city funded. To go into the schools and teach that. So there are some changes going on for sure.
That's fabulous.
Yeah, even the way, a lot of
encouraging.
Yeah, it's amazing. So I do love to tell people that. I'm like, it's, or maybe talk to your local people and, see how you can get that in your schools. But it's true. And sometimes we'd walk into schools and of course they had us there, which was amazing. But also like you'd walk into the classroom and the classroom would be so different. It would be, you can sit in all these wonky ways. You can sit on the floor if you want. You can sit in this beanbag chair. And it's not like you're stuck in this desk. And if you move for a second, you're in trouble. And, you have to like go into the bathroom and you can't think. And, if you're doodling, you're doing something wrong. There's just a lot more open-mindedness to like, you can learn in your own way. Maybe when you doodle, you can listen better. When I doodled, I always heard people better. It was the perfect way to like keep one part of me busy, to be able to not lose my mind trying to concentrate so hard. So all these little ways of just understanding that, you know, people can all be learning in their own ways, you know, and everyone's having a different experience.
Absolutely. Yeah. We all learn differently, don't we? So I'm dyslexic and I'm slightly on the autistic scale. So my education years weren't the best, to be quite fair. You know, I struggled with my education, reading and writing and arithmetic. I was terrible. In fact, I left school when I was illiterate. And it wasn't the fact that I'm not intelligent to be able to do it, because I learned to read and write as soon as I left school and realised I needed it and learned very quickly. Its reality is that I just wasn't, they didn't know how to teach me.
Yeah.
But that's a lot better now. We know that there's a lot more resources in place, and they help children far more now than they've ever done with that, which is really, really good. Fix the child, and that's what it's all about, really. And I think we're waking up as well. People are really waking up, as I said earlier. You know, I think there's a lot of people out there that are like, none of this is making a lot of sense. I need to look at something different now. And they're looking at their own spirituality, which is amazing, really. Because we're the whole sum of our parts. You know, but there's so much more to the human being than ever meets the eye. So much more.
That's what I love about your like approach with things, is that you you know, take all that, how there's so much more, and like that spiritual piece, but also with the awareness of you are a person with all your experiences and all the different parts of you, and that's just as important as the bigger, more spiritual part. You know, it's not just about trying to just ascend everything, you know, and it's like everything will just go away and fix itself if I just ascend, you know, above it all. And really how I know that in like the mediumship that you teach, like how you said you run circles, a part of that, correct me if I'm wrong, a part of your process is to help people, you know, get into that kind of work of like themselves and like the parts of them, and that's like the path into being able to really connect to, you know, the intuition, mediumship.
Absolutely. I think learning about yourself is the greatest thing. Nobody's born bad. Nobody's born a bad individual, but we're all the same. We all come the same. It's nurture, not nature, and it's how we're installed as a child. So nobody's really bad. People do bad things, absolutely, in the world. Lots of people do bad things, but generally speaking, it's not their fault. They can't help it. And when you said earlier, you look beyond, it's because we have to, you know, because nobody's born bad. They just learn to be so in some respect or another. But that doesn't mean to say that they're fixed for an eternity like that. They can change. Things can change. I've seen it so many times. And you hear it so many times, you know, even down to like famous rap singers and musicians here in America that have turned their lives around and got into charitable work and into counseling and so on and so forth, to help other people with their journey too. So we can change. We can change. And the spiritual with the circle work, it's kind of the start, because it's like a self-realization. I am more than I ever thought I was, and now let's explore this. It's really exciting. It's a bit like the film The Matrix, you know. It's like, how deep does the rabbit hole go? For the work that I've done now for over 3 decades, the more I learn, the more I realize I don't know much. So I'm constantly always evolving. I'm always learning, you know. I didn't realize that. I didn't write something. And then I go back and I relearn some of the things that I learned before that I'd forgotten about, that then reteaches me and then gives me a different look at it. Because, you know, your beliefs, the human being beliefs are the fundamental building blocks of their reality. So whatever we believe we can see, it's your beliefs. You know, if you believe you can, you can. If you believe you can't, you can't. And that's the truth of it. So it's our beliefs that are the building blocks of all of our realities. And when I teach, I like to challenge people's beliefs. So that they're like, and it makes them think, and then they start to use a different part of their brain.
I love that. It's amazing, because I feel like you hear that, you know, like your beliefs are your reality, but then I think sometimes there's this more surface level what's prescribed, where it's like, okay, say these affirmations, you know, that are like a new belief system. And I'm not against affirmations, but a lot of times like the beliefs are so like deep within us, we don't even we couldn't even write on paper what our beliefs are when we start out. You know what I mean? We don't even know what they are.
No, that's right. Yeah.
We're just living based off of them. So it really does take, like how you said, looking at things in a different way, learning about yourself, being more curious about yourself. And when you're saying that it never stops, there's always more to learn.
Absolutely.
I feel like it's so important to realize that when you go into that kind of journey, it's cool because as you go into it, you start to realize that you're not there to necessarily like fix yourself and like have this like end goal of I'm doing this to completely fix myself and be this new way, because there's always going to be more evolving. So it's like it's really about getting to know yourself, accepting yourself, working with yourself and changing, but not to like have I'm doing this for this like one end goal and then I'm done.
It's a progressive thing, because the soul's always looking to evolve. So it's all about learning, isn't it? And I remember many years ago when I sat with Peter that taught me, and we did a meditation. I found myself, my guide said to me, look at your right hand, and it was full of sand. I had sand in my right hand. And he said to me, that's the sum of all your knowledge. He said, now look around you. And I found myself stood in the Sahara Desert. There was billions of tons of sand everywhere, as far as the eye could see, and denoting knowledge. So, there's just so much. There's so much that we can grow and learn and expand constantly. As I said, the more I learn, the more I realize I don't know much. So, but that's what I want to be. I want to be in that position. I don't want to be done. I don't want to be like, oh, that makes sense, I'm done now. Because I don't want to be in that position. I want to be in the position of, oh, that's interesting. Because then you're going back to the child, the Christmas morning, the excitement of there's something new to learn. There's something new to unwrap here. This is a bit different. I've not looked at it like this or thought of it like that. So I don't discount anything. And I think that if you discount anything in your life, then you limit your learning capacity, your ability to expand. So whether it's religion, whatever it is, I'm always open and willing to learn something new from someone else.
Oh, I love the child's curiosity.
Absolutely, because essentially that's all we are. That's all you are. That's all I am. We're just all still children. That's all we are. We just occupy this world. I think the problem is why so many people struggle is they're just children trying to be grown-ups. And that's so hard. It's so hard. Living in this world today, it's a difficult world, and in some respects it's got easier, and in other respects it's got a lot harder, because the expectation is greater. Certainly on children at school. It just goes back to my original point of reform in the education system. There's so much pressure put on young children. It's terrible, the ability to be able to perform, and if they can't, the stigma that goes with that. So I think that needs to be looked at again, which is good. And I think they are doing slowly, and I think that is happening. I'm pleased to say. So so you can't, and the journey within is the most wonderful journey, because I am God. So we all are. All your listeners listening to this on YouTube or wherever, they're all God as well, because we all come from the same source. So we're all related. We're all related. We're all related. We're all on a similar journey. We're just at different levels, at different stages of a journey. That's all. Nothing more than that. And there's a median. Then I'm just at this level where I am, and you're at your level where you are. And we all are, but we're necessarily we're all children. We're all connected. So we all come from the same source. Born with the same energy, all of us. We all get to see like fragments of ourselves, in each other. Absolutely. Absolutely right.
For good. And I feel like that's also where a lot of the judgment and the clashing and stuff comes from too, is seeing something that you haven't been able to really hold and care for and accept in yourself, and seeing bits of it in other people, and that being very triggering and very jarring. But I love what you said about the child's curiosity, because it made me think, like, with this kind of like inner child work and the healing, how we say how the inner child is the one kind of taking over, running the show with everything. They're the one, throwing the temper tantrum and all of this stuff. But when we get to really heal them in that way, then they get to be kids. They get to be curious
Yeah.
and they get to have all their beautiful emotions and be fun, and it's so much more lighthearted. And
Yeah.
so it's so interesting how we're feeling, how we get to step into that spirituality, and that curiosity for expansion
Yeah.
and growth is also very reflective of that child having finally felt safe and loved and accepted enough
Yeah.
to then go play and go
That's,
learn and
well,
go.
that's right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because that's where the happiness is in the
Mhm.
adult, isn't it? The
Yeah.
happiness is in the child. It's in the fun.
Mhm.
It's reliving the Christmas. It's having the birthdays. It's
Yeah.
enjoying life again.
Mhm.
That's the child's energy, and that's what
Mhm.
we've forgotten as adults.
Yeah.
I've got to work, I've got a job, I've got to do my 8 hours,
Mhm.
12 hours, and I'm doing run my business. I've got to be successful, and pay
Mhm.
for this and pay for that. And we've got lost in that trap.
Mhm.
But if we can be more childlike,
Mhm.
if we can, and that's where the happiness lies
Mhm.
within the adult, is
Yeah.
to get back to child again, get
Mhm.
back to that curiosity and that fun and that excitement. And
Yeah.
so many struggle with that, and I understand why.
Mhm.
We live in as I said earlier, in a very pressurized world
Mhm.
where we all struggle to try and make what is perceived to be success of our lives.
Mhm. Yeah.
Which is an awful shame, really.
Mhm.
So yeah, back to child, healing that child, loving that
Mhm.
child,
Yeah.
enjoying life again.
Mhm.
That's what I try and teach.
Yeah, I love that. It helps so much too with I don't know if you are able to see this like with clients or they come to you, but it helps so much with like relationships as well, to be
Yeah,
able to see that in themselves. Because I didn't even notice like in my marriage that like when we're able to see, when the other person is maybe doing something or acting in a way that we don't like, or like let's say it's, my husband's acting in a way that feels hurtful to me, right? But to be able to see him as like a child doing those things,
yeah,
and me being a child feeling so hurt by those
yeah,
things, being able to see that dynamic is just like, oh my gosh, it's
yeah,
so
yeah.
incredible how much you can grow from that perception, not just seeing yourself that way, but others and their actions that way as well.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
To actually notice it in
Mm-hmm.
another adult
Yeah.
and see their programs working
Mm-hmm.
and are at play, it is quite fascinating. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Because we get caught in it ourselves.
Mm-hmm.
I get caught in it too.
Yeah.
I get childish sometimes, and I get upset, and I think, and I have to wake myself up and say,
Mm-hmm.
hang on, Nigel, put yourself together, what's going on, and then analyze myself and look at it. Yeah, it's a wondrous journey. It really
Mm-hmm.
is, and it's the spirituality, it's the mediumship, it's the healing, it's the whole part of that.
Mm-hmm.
It's the whole journey of
Yeah.
self-discovery, really.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
It's so true. I wish more people knew that, because people
yeah,
will ask me about intuition and psychic ability and things like that, and asking about developing it. And they're usually surprised that almost every time something that I give them to do, like a practice, is more not quote unquote spiritually based. They're expecting me, it's a spiritual thing they're looking for. They're expecting me to give some spiritual based practice, but the
sure.
thing that I give them is more about this kind of work, this programming work, this very human work.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely right.
Hmm.
Absolutely right. We. What's interesting as well is that you, me, all of us are the
Hmm.
net end result of all our lives, because
Hmm.
we've been back many times,
Yeah.
backwards and forwards and backwards and forwards. And people say, well, why would we come back here? Well, it's not for us. It's for the evolution of the soul. It's the soul
Mm-hmm.
that's constantly looking to evolve and to become
Yeah.
more.
Mm-hmm.
That's the purpose. That's why we have a life. It's
Hmm.
the quickest way for the soul to learn. So
Hmm.
it comes in as a short trip,
Yeah.
and it's back again.
Yeah.
That's the whole purpose of
Hmm.
it. So it's a quick and often painful, because that's the soul grows through the pain. I remember Peter telling me, the harder it is for you here, the better it is for you there. It's the more
Mm-hmm.
you evolve,
Yeah.
so the more you grow. So yeah, so you, me, all of us, all the
Mm-hmm.
listeners, we are the net end result of all our lives, this
Mm-hmm.
life and all the other ones as well.
Yeah.
Because I do past life readings as well, which always fascinates me.
Mm-hmm.
There's lots of information comes up from the past that has completely makes sense in the now.
Yeah.
I've done those quite a few times. They
Oh,
always fascinate me.
wow. Yeah, that's so interesting. I've gotten one before, and I've interviewed a past life regression specialist here
Okay.
as well. That's so cool. I didn't know that you did those.
Yeah, yeah, I love doing those.
Yeah.
I studied my hypnosis with quite a famous hypnotherapist in the UK called Paul McKenna. And through the hypnosis work that I learned through him and the courses I was on with him, I found it easier to tap into other people's energy, and see who they were. Really, very fascinating.
Yeah,
very interesting what comes up, and how it relates to this life now, and actually healing what happened 100 years ago, 200 years ago, whatever, can actually release them now as well. It's part of the healing process, part of the healing journey. Not just looking at this childhood here, but looking at what happened 300 years ago, because there's no time in spirit. There's no time in energy.
Yeah, it's all existing.
It's all existing. It's, so that people revel in the fact that they're a clairvoyant. I'm a clairvoyant. Well, actually, you're not. You're just a radio receiver for time, which there's none of in spirit. So what was and what will be and what is all one time frame there.
Yeah.
There's no backwards and forwards. And that's where the clairvoyant gets the clairvoyance from, in terms of where I can see this happening or I can see that happening, because it's only spirit relaying that information.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, because it doesn't feel that way. When I try to describe it, I say the same thing, how time doesn't exist. It's all existing, or time doesn't exist linearly. It's all existing right now.
It is.
And I'm like, just like you can, recall, or not even really call, but tap into, energy of the past.
Yeah.
It's the same. We're just not used to that from like a human perspective, but it doesn't really feel like, quote unquote, reading the future or telling the future. It feels the same as, me reading your energy and telling you about your life as it is, today,
Absolutely
like
right.
on a Tuesday. It feels the same as that, as me saying, whatever messages are coming up from, potential things that are here coming up in the future.
That's right.
Yeah.
When I do readings for people and I have family members that come through, often it feels like they've just gone now. They've literally just, and they might have been in spirit for 15, 20 years.
Wow.
But to them, it's just 2 minutes.
Yeah.
Like there's just no time. So when you die, spirit rejoice. You going back home.
Yeah.
So we rejoice at a birth. So
yes.
we get excited about a birth. We rejoice. That spirit almost they don't get sad, but it's almost like you've then departed that dimension to come here for a life. But they know, literally in a blink of an eye, that you're going to be back again.
Yeah. It's like they're going off to college, but shorter.
Yeah. A lot shorter. It's like, it's literally a blink of an eye.
Yeah.
So you're here and then you're back again. Here, then you're back again. Here.
Yeah.
It's fascinating. I remember many years ago, I was working out in Dubai doing readings and a demonstration out in Dubai, and I was flying across country to Bahrain. I remember being in Dubai airport, waiting for my transfer of my flight. And I looked to my right and I saw Robin Williams. He obviously passed. I saw him staring at me and I thought, it's been my imagination.
Yeah.
Robin Williams. Anyway, I flew off to Bahrain, got into my Airbnb, which was about on the 15th floor of this huge apartment block, and sitting down and putting the TV on. It was Netflix. And as it came on, it was Robin Williams came up straight away in a film, I think it was called What Lies Beyond, or What Lies Beyond.
What Dreams May Come.
What Dreams May Come.
Yes.
Absolutely right.
Yeah.
And I thought maybe I should watch this.
Oh my
God. So there was,
And it's spiritual. It's all about.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Yeah. And it was so fascinating to watch it, because it kind of almost reinforces a lot of the beliefs that I've had. But so I obviously saw Robin Williams for a reason at Dubai Airport. I got there, turned it on Netflix. There he was, and that was the film.
Wow.
Yeah, fascinating. So and it was quite interesting, because he was back there at the end of the movie with his wife and saying, let's have another life, let's have another go. And then you see them at the beginning of the new life, 2 babies and 2 children looking at each other. Fantastic.
Yeah.
So amazing. There's so much more truth in that.
Oh yeah, that movie just really, I don't know who wrote it, but it just strikes you as this like spiritual understanding, you know? Yeah,
Really
like that movie was
resonated
channeled.
with you.
Yeah.
So good, so good. Because it's not until we get back to spirit that we're like, oh, it all makes sense now. I remember now, because I think it's about 60 to 70% of your soul doesn't exist here. It's not, you're not 100%.
Yeah.
Otherwise, you'd know everything. So and that wouldn't be good. So we'd all be queuing up to get back there as quick as we could.
Right.
So the reality is that, you know, we're only 30 to 40% connected.
Yeah.
And when you get back there and then you connect with the rest of you, so, you know, the other 60, 70%, and then all of a sudden it's like, oh, I remember now.
Yeah.
It's like you've forgotten, you know? So all the time we're here, we've all forgotten. We've forgotten where we're from and what it's all about.
Yeah.
Get back there, it's like, oh, no, I remember now.
Yeah.
Yes.
So I have a question for you. It's just kind of like I don't even know what's it called? I can't think of the word, but just like an off question. There's no right or wrong answer. I'm just curious. So you know how you say like the soul is partially, you know, not with us, right? Yeah. Do you believe then when we tap into the soul and receive, you know, things like intuition and mediumship messages, things like that, do you feel like it's coming through that other end of the soul, like it's almost the other end of the receiver, you know, who's hanging out there?
It's well, to a degree and not. I mean, you've got your guides. Your guides are the ones that work with you. They're the ones that you know, they're your first line of defense. They're the ones that help you connect to the spirit realms. But the other side of you, your super conscious, your the 3/4 of you is always connected to you. Yeah. It's always there, connected by an etheric thread. You're always connected, you know. Yeah. So often your higher intuition, you know, when you're like, I really shouldn't drive down here, or I really should get the tire checked, or I really should listen to that, or the Robin Williams thing. Often that is your higher self. Often that is the other part of you that's in communication, helping.
Okay, so you would call that your higher self?
Yeah, your higher self, or you know, or the you know, the I am. You know, it's
the self.
Yeah, because we're kind of splintered, really, aren't we? So because if we had the whole complement of our soul, then we'd know why we're here. Yeah. We know how long we're here for. We know, we'd see all our other lives. We'd know the purpose of everything. Yeah. And then really,
like, what do we do now?
Would we then really want to be here? Yeah. Would I want to be here? Would I want to be coming to LA and doing a TV show? And would I want to be doing all that? Probably not. I really want to be back there and complete again, you know? So, so it's a good job that we don't have the full complement, the full intelligence and the full knowledge of everything, because it just wouldn't be good for us. Yeah. Yeah. That makes sense. Yeah. So yeah, it's fascinating, isn't it? And as I said earlier, it's a handful of sand, right? We've all got a handful of sand. Yeah. And we're all stood in the Sahara Desert, all of us, you know. I think the key is to pour that sand down that you've got and pick another handful up. You know?
I love that. That's great. Yeah.
Analogies. Just keep picking and then study that handful of sand, drop it and pick some more up.
Yeah. You can't just be sitting there like trying to hold on so tightly to this, you know, same hand of sand.
That's right. That's the problem, isn't it? It's the same with everything, the human being. It's a little bit like the tide, you know, we have to let it go out or it's not going to come back in again. Yeah. If it comes in and we hold it, it's not going to go back out. We're not going to expand again. Yeah. So it's a bit like breathing, you know, you can't hold your breath for too long. You're going to die. Yeah. So, you know, we've got to learn to breathe out. Yeah. To breathe in again.
And then you're like, I don't want to breathe out because I might not get more air and then I might die, you know, the irony of that.
Well, it's the fear, isn't it?
Yes.
We're just so scared. Yeah. Because fear is a real thing. It's an energy and we're scared. Most people are scared to do anything really with their lives, you know. Play it very safe, very conservative. And that's not good. Really.
Yeah. Well, and even if you don't feel like you're maybe a cautious person, safe in the way that you know, are just continuing on with the same programming. Because like that's what your mind thinks is safe, you know, just to continue on doing things the same way. That's so even if you don't feel like you're a more conservative, cautious person and in fearful in that way, you know, things like, you know, running away from things and self-sabotage and, you know, things like that are just as much coming from the fear, you know?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. The subconscious mind, essentially your soul, the child, has strategies built into it in terms of, if you have an experience. So if I go to Vegas next week and I win 10 grand on blackjack, my subconscious mind will see that as a winning strategy. So it will always believe that when I go to Vegas and I play blackjack, I'm going to win 10 grand.
Yeah.
Well, 99.9 cases out of 10, I'm not going to win 10 grand again. That was a fluke. But the subconscious mind doesn't understand that. All it knows is it's a winning strategy. So it'll always keep replaying it. That's why people get into bad relationships. They get out of a bad relationship, back into another one. Because at some point or another within the bad relationship, they had a positive experience of subconscious mind, then believes that's a successful strategy, and then it will always replay that. That's where the healing has to come in, where we go back. And we do the healing work with the inner child and with the experiences. So it's very, very deep and complex. And as I said, the more I learn, the more I realize I don't know much. So that's why I'm constantly always trying to update my studying and learn more and more and more, in terms of being able to understand, to help others understand. And that's what's so enjoyable for me and for you. I've no doubt about it. No doubt about it, because you've got that, you've got that sensitivity and that love and the desire to expand beyond your own.
Oh yeah,
where you are.
Yeah,
Absolutely right. Yeah. It's so interesting. My life is so different to what it ever used to be. I was financially sound. I had a successful company in London back in the day, quite wealthy, really. So materialistically, I was very, very, very solid. Not so much now. I kind of walked away from all of my material life to then focus very deeply on my spirituality and doing this. Coming out to LA, enjoying the sun, because it's not like that in the UK. And then focusing on building that for myself. So it's interesting, isn't it?
Yeah, it's very interesting. Like what I tell people a lot too, that sometimes I feel like we don't even realize truly what we deep down like want and came here for until we kind of set out on this inner knowing journey. Because like I used to be such a different person, like how you said that you were seeking all the financial success and everything, and like that's what you had thought that you really wanted and like came here for. And for me, I was so incredibly anxious. Like you wouldn't even recognize me. I couldn't have windows down in a car. If there was a fly, I'd have a panic attack. I was just anxious all the time about everything. I couldn't nearly public speak. I've had teachers apologize because I would just take a few steps and start bawling, and then they'd have me go sit down and feel all bad. But just a whole different person, right? And if you ask me back then, what is it that I wanted, or what would I want to come and do with my life, the answers would be completely different. I would have probably not wanted to do anything that I truly do want to do, and that my soul truly came here for. So I feel like it's very interesting too, getting to the place where you start connecting more to those true wants and desires for yourself.
Absolutely. It's kind of where we are now. It's a level of realization, isn't it? So I got involved in my spirituality. I built a business in London. I got divorced about 10 years ago, and I closed my business down and then focused solely on my spiritual work. I'm more happier now than I've ever been. Not because I don't have the level of wealth. It's not because I don't have that I'm happier. I'm just happier because I know having the level of wealth isn't going to make me happy. Actually, and I found my happiness within, with doing my clairvoyance, my mediumship, with doing my healing, with working with people and sorting their stuff out to help them sort them out. And that's where I found my happiness. And you're right, it's the journey, isn't it? It's the journey. What we think will make us happy, because we choose to seek our happiness outside of ourselves. Everyone does. The better relationship, the nicer car, the bigger house, the more money in the bank, a better body, a better physique, a better looking. The list goes on that we believe will make us happy. And I achieved lots of that, and I was never happy. So, and also I know lots of people that have achieved that and a lot more than me that aren't happy. Are still not happy. So happiness isn't without, it's within. And it's to find that. Isn't it? And then it doesn't matter. You can be a millionaire and you can be wealthy, but not happy because of that.
Yes.
Happy because of just who you are.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's fascinating.
Yeah, that's how I felt about just safety, feeling safe and secure, you know, like that was kind of what I was always seeking with, you know, and thinking that being anxious about things and however I acted in response to my anxiety was the thing that was going to make me feel safe, you know, with all that fear. And then it was just really finding that within, that just unconditional, you know, safety.
Just believing in you, really.
Yeah.
Just having your own self-love.
Yes.
You know,
exactly.
because you'll never find love outside of you till it's there with yourself first anyway.
That's what it was, knowing that I'd always take care of myself, you know, at the end of the day. I'd always protect myself at the end of the day. I'd always choose and prioritize myself. And then once I started thinking and living that, there was no reason to be scared of things. Right.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. People are always looking outside of themselves. And I teach people that nothing you want exists outside of you.
Yeah.
It all exists within you. You know? Everything does. Find it first. It's the recognize, because we're just a mirror. So anybody that comes into our lives is just a mirror energy of ourselves.
Yeah.
That's the vibration that we are and that we draw to us. It's like a magnet, really. So, you know, I say to people, well, you know, can you recognize jealousy in someone else? And people say, well, yeah, I can see jealousy in someone. So well, that's because it's in you. Yeah. Because you won't recognize it otherwise. Yeah. You can't recognize jealousy in somebody else unless you've experienced jealousy for yourself. And that's the truth. Yeah. So that's, you know, that's the growth, and that's the realization, isn't it? Yeah. That you cannot live outside of yourself. At the end of the day, you go wherever you are. You know, wherever you go is where you're going to be. So you have to live with yourself. We all do. All your listeners have to live with themselves, and not with their partner, or not with the lack of money, or whatever they think is going to make them happy or fulfill them. Often we get there and find it doesn't. You've only got to look around at some of the most successful people in the world constantly still working 18 hours a day, even though they've got a couple of billion in the bank or whatever it might be, because it's never enough. Because they still don't feel fulfilled within, because they realize that, you know, when I've made my first million, I'll be happy when I make a million. They get to a million, it's like, well, it's not quite enough because I can't quite afford to buy that plane or that yacht. So I need another couple of million. And then the list just keeps going on and on and on and on. And they're always pinning their happiness on the next thing. Of course, the next thing never gives them their happiness, because it's the happiness that exists within, without. It's fascinating. It's just a constant journey, isn't it? And our discussions today have led us onto one thing, onto another thing, onto another thing, onto another thing. Because people say to me, well, you know, I just don't know what to do with my life, and I don't know what I want. And I say, well, you want the same thing that every human being wants here, and solely, and that's just to be happy. And you're just looking for it in the wrong place. You're looking for it in a relationship, or you're looking for it in more money, or whatever it might be. The gift is to find it within you now, because that's where your happiness lies. And it's so true, like coming back to yourself and having that like relationship with you and like yourself and all the different parts of you, and like that child part of you, like that is that happiness, you know. It feels like you finally get to, you know, be a child receiving that hug and being so happy, or receiving that attention, you know, like how a child, you know, like gets that attention or love or affection, whatever it is that they're wanting, and now they feel okay, and now they feel happy, you know. It's like giving that to yourself. Absolutely. Absolutely. You know, I've worked with so many people over the years, and often their fixes are very simple, because the conscious mind, we complicate things so much. We make, you know, well, I need this, and I need CBT, and I need this, and I need counseling, and I need hypnosis. Often people's problems are very simple, and often it's just the realization of actually, you know what, this is just energy, and that's been created, and I can uncreate that energy, and I can make that energy something else, something that's better. Because the subconscious mind, the child, your soul, doesn't know what's real and doesn't know what's not. It only knows what you show it. So whatever you show it, the subconscious mind over a period of time will believe it. and that's the truth.
Yeah.
But if if something happened bad when you were a child, firstly, it's bad enough that it happened once, but a lot of people then relive that program over and over and over again. But the subconscious mind only knows that's real because that was the program. Then you can change the program and teach it something else that it thinks is real.
Yeah.
They're just strategies. They're just programs in the subconscious. Because we've all got millions of programs running all the time.
Yeah.
Some of them are really, really very good for us. The ability to be able to do this today, the ability to be able to walk, the ability to talk, so on and so forth. But there are also other programs that are really not very good.
Yeah.
You know, that sit within the subconscious mind. But there's still programs that can be adjusted and changed.
Yeah.
And made to run differently. So I've got 100% success rate in curing flying phobias, in curing spider phobias.
Oh, wow.
I could generally remove a phobia in an hour or less.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. And regardless of how long it's been installed.
Yeah.
Because it's just a program that's been installed. So I go in to the subconscious using some light hypnosis and just distort the memory so it doesn't play the same way again.
Oh, wow. That's amazing.
Yeah, it's incredible. And I love doing that because you can almost instantly see somebody be completely freed from that pain.
Yeah, I literally took a deep breath, like the relief I felt. Oh my gosh. And that like child, that program, like that's all they know, it's like when you go in and distort the memory, it's like really about showing them like, hey, there's other ways that this could play out. There's other paths, there's other experiences, other options. Like I love that as like a mantra. I tell it to myself and I tell other people is like the inner child, like whatever that thing is that they are so stuck on, that they're doing, like maybe it's bad relationships or it's the fear and the phobias and things like that. It's like that, okay, that was one experience, and that experience is totally valid that happened, and I'm so sorry, but there's also a million different ways that this could go.
Absolutely.
Moving forward, like from here on out, this actually could play out a bunch of different ways, like the person I'm with could not cheat on me, or whatever the thing is, like, but to think of a little kid where it's like, that's all they seen, and they took that one time and they're like, that's how it goes. That's it,
Yeah, it isn't. It's not how it goes. It can be changed. It's very, very interesting to think that these programs are running all day, every day.
Yes.
Because I've worked with so many people, and I worked with a lady that was in an abusive relationship. She was able to pluck up the courage, leave the abusive relationship, and then only to get back into another abusive relationship and keep repeating that same program pattern that's in the subconscious. It's not until we then got into the subconscious and changed what happened to her as a small child to what that small child saw and experienced, that pattern changed, the program changed, then she no longer created because her vibration changed, therefore it didn't draw the same energy to it. Because a vibration is like a magnetic energy that comes out of us like a tsunami. As it comes out, it then comes back in like the tide, drags the same energy back to us.
Oh my gosh.
So so that's how it works. And until you change the program energy, and then it goes out differently, or then bring something else back in. So I work with people that have got financial issues, that can't make much money, struggling financially, and they're intelligent, they can work hard, but they just can't seem to make any money. It's just the program, the belief program is, they might have grown up and heard their dad saying, money's really hard to come by. If you don't work hard, you're going to have a lot of money. Rich people aren't very nice. The list goes on. They have a bad wealth mentality. So I go in and I change the program. So the tsunami of energy that then goes out from them then attracts a different energy back, which was more of a prosperous energy, where they can have money a lot easier as opposed to working really hard for it.
Wow.
Because, the belief that we have to graft and work really hard for money is just another belief that isn't necessarily true. There are more millionaires created today on the internet and on a laptop than there's ever been. Incredibly so. So, it's everything is just programmable energy. And that's all we are. We're just can't say the word, sophisticated computers. running a RAM, random access memory, and a hard drive your soul. And all the information on the hard drive and the soul is what then goes out from us like a tsunami of energy, then draws it back to us.
Wow, I love that. You might have seen me like just like lit up with that analogy too, because you gave me words. You gave me an analogy that I've always wanted to be able to explain or understand, which is obviously like the law of attraction.
Yeah.
I always talk about it in a way where like, yes, you're attracting, but also at the same time, you're like subconsciously seeking these things. It's not just like, oh, you keep attracting it, you keep attracting it. At the same time, you are also like subconsciously, that outward motion as well, subconsciously seeking it.
Yeah.
It's not just like, oh, stop attracting that, it's your fault. Like it's there's also that bit where your subconscious will keep doing that without your say. So thank you for that tsunami analogy. Like you totally validated, how I saw it and gave me a clear way of seeing it. Mm-hmm.
Well, you'll only bring to you that which you've got within you.
Mm-hmm.
That's a fact.
Yeah.
You cannot reinstall or put a new program in of wealth if you don't go in to do it.
Yeah.
So you can't sit there and have a mantra every day, I'm going to be wealthy, I'm going to be wealthy, I'm going to be wealthy. It's not going to work.
Yes.
Because it's just like pouring water over oil. It's not going to stick.
Yeah.
You've got to get into where the programs are. Because if you've got a memory of a childhood saying, your dad's saying that you'll never be wealthy, wealthy people are bad, that's your subconscious belief.
Yeah.
So that tsunami of energy, that's what goes out. That's why wealth doesn't come back. That needs to be re-educated and reprogrammed. Because that's why the law of attraction doesn't work as we've been told it does.
Yes.
Because you're only ever going to get you've got what's going on with your vibration and your energy. That's all you're going to get. And if you then get something that is outside of your vibration or your energy, like you might win the lottery, chances are you'll give it all away or you'll ruin it.
Yeah.
Because the vibration can't accept it.
Yes. Yeah.
Can't accept the wealth. So if you look at the statistics of people that have won the lottery, it's not like 60-70% of them are now broke again.
Yes. Exactly. Oh my gosh. Yes. Yes.
Because their vibration can't accept it.
Yeah.
It's the same as a relationship. If you haven't got good relationship vibration, you can't accept it. So you won't get a good relationship.
Yeah.
If you grew up watching your parents with ill health, you'll end up migrating to having ill health. Because the subconscious mind doesn't know what's real, doesn't know what's not. It only knows what it's got.
Yeah.
Therefore, you can re-educate the subconscious mind to something that is real, that is good. Then your vibration changes. Then as the tsunami of energy goes out, it brings something back that you actually want.
Yeah.
Good relationship, more money, better health, so on and so forth.
Wow. Oh my God. Yeah. I love the way you just described everything so clearly. And I feel like a really good simple example that might be good for people to see, because I just hear how people might be like, well, if I won the lottery, then I would just keep all the money. But so a very like simple example is, I'm sure everyone has either experienced this or seen, maybe for themselves or seen it, is someone who, like, let's say someone's in a relationship and they're like, I don't feel pretty, and I don't feel like you're attracted to me. I don't think that you think I'm pretty. And then you'll see you'll see them get compliments like, oh, I think you look so beautiful today. And you'll see the person not accept it, and not believe it. Yeah. Right. And then they continue to go around and it's like, everyone, thinks I'm ugly. No one thinks I'm pretty. But at the same time, you see how people will tell them differently.
Sure.
And you'll just see this person never really get, like, it can't incorporate into their system, no matter how much they're being told.
Sure.
Yeah.
And eventually their belief system will be validated from the outside as well.
Yes.
We always create.
And that's what it only gets focused on. That's the only thing that gets incorporated, is anytime someone in whatever way, shape, or form, even if it was them just projecting, that this other person doesn't think they're pretty, or it isn't attracted to them, that's what's going to just sink right in.
Of course, our belief systems will always be validated by the energy outside of ourselves. Yeah. That's what we draw to us. Always, it's always going to be the case. So if you don't think, that's why they said, if you don't think you can, you can't. It's absolutely right. And you cannot just change, which is what I teach in my workshops. I run your workshops as well. I do a lot of teaching. You cannot just change your programming by saying, I'm pretty.
Yeah.
I believe I'm pretty.
Yeah.
You can't just do that.
Mm-hmm.
It's got to go a lot deeper than that. It's got to go to the point, we call it capsule in the matrix re-imprinting. It's got to go to that capsule and find out where that was installed.
Yeah.
Once we find where it was installed and we can change that, then everything changes. That's just how it works.
Yeah.
That's a tsunami of energy, and that's what needs to be worked on. And yet again, you know, the more I work with people and I see change with people that I've worked with, you know, you can see their lights coming on. So if I can do this, this works, what else can I do?
Yes.
What else can I change? Where else can I go?
Yeah, you can have new experiences now.
Absolutely right. Absolutely right.
Yeah.
Absolutely right. It's just really educating the child. It's just really educating their energy to say, you know what, you can actually, you are beautiful. You are clever. You are resourceful. You don't need anyone. You know, you're good at what you do, whatever it might be.
Yeah.
And then to get the better results within ourselves as adults.
Yeah. Well, oh my gosh, this has been so amazing. I'm so excited for everyone, you know, listening. I hope that this has been so helpful. I know with time, I do want to be wrapping things up. I'm sure we can go on forever.
Yeah, absolutely.
I love it. I do want to make this very tangible for you all. So yeah, I feel like a takeaway that I definitely have and personally want to leave with you all is maybe to just start seeing yourself, you know, as that child, you know, and I know there's all these different parts of you, all these different inner child parts, but just starting to really see like your actions and your thoughts and your behavior coming from a place of that, you know, of an inner child. And then even for people on the outside. But Nigel, anything else that you wanted to share?
I do, just for your viewers, and just to maybe help everyone in there. You know, if you've got something going on that is that you recognize is from a childhood memory, it's because the child has stepped out of the morphic field and into your vibration with its emotion. Spend some time with that child. Sit that child on your knee. Give them the appreciation and the love and the compassion that child's then looking for. Because that's all it is. And you'll find that this emotion, whatever you're carrying, will simply fade from you when you look after the child.
Yeah.
So, as I said, adults don't suffer with anger, jealousy, rage, with all these different negative emotions. Adults and children do. So if something comes up with one of your listeners that might be negative, might be scary, it's the child. Welcome the child back in. Welcome that fractured part back into yourself with love and compassion and understanding. Because the best way we get anything out of kids is with love, understanding, and compassion.
Yes. Oh, how beautiful. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Oh my gosh. Okay, then to leave you all, I'll let Nigel say how to find him, how to work with him. I'm like, I'm gonna go book a session with him now. So yeah, let people know how to you know, continue on with you.
Certainly, you can find me on all the social media, TikTok and Facebook and Instagram. My website www.nigelgaff.com. I'm on all the social media. My email ncgaff@yahoo.com. You can get me on that. My cell number. I'm on Google everywhere. There's pages and pages of me on Google, so you'll find me easily on there. So yeah.
Awesome. Yeah, and I'll link everything in the show notes too, so you could just go in there and then go directly to Nigel. And then is there anything that you are offering right now, like that's special maybe while you're here, or want to maybe let people know the time you're in town?
I'm at Newport Beach at the moment. That's where I'm staying, and I'm doing a lot of work at the Healing Gift in it's
Fountain Valley.
Yeah. Thank you for that. Yeah, so I'm there quite a bit. So you can contact them there, or Pat actually. Pat is my promoter at the moment over here, and Pat will look after you in terms of making appointments with me.
Perfect.
So you can contact me through her. Yeah, that should be good.
Awesome. That's great. Okay, cool. Then for me, I did just want to mention that my 12 Laws of the Universe planner is out. I do go over the 12 Laws of the Universe in different ways, more along the lines of what me and Nigel were talking about, of really incorporating things like subconscious work, working with human experience, not just spirituality. So the law of attraction is in there, but in more of the way that that we were discussing. So if you want to check that out for 2024, it's a planner. It's got practices, teaches you all about the 12 laws of the universe from my personal perspective. And I'll link that as well.
Brilliant. I've got a book out too. It's on Amazon, so you can get it on there.
Yes, remind us of the name again. I'll put that in.
Reflections of the English Medium.
Perfect. Awesome. Good. Cool. Well, thank you all for listening in. Thank you, Nigel, for being here.
My pleasure.
Yes.
It's really good. Thank
you. Well, I hope you all have a very sunny day. Thank you for tuning in to the Sunny Days podcast. Don't forget to subscribe and catch more of my free content by following me at Alex the Good Witch on Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube. If this episode resonated with you, please take a screenshot, post it in your stories, and tag me on Instagram. I appreciate your time here with me today. Peace and love to you all, and I will see you in the next episode.